welcome to Inside the Middle East. I'm Becky Anderson, coming to you from Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates. This month, we're looking back at some of our favourite stories of 2014. 2014 was a great year for our show. We covered the arts, culture, and society across the Middle East. We even got front seats at some unique sporting events. Everywhere we went, from the Arabian Peninsula to Algeria, from the hills of the West Bank to the bottom of the Gulf of Oman. We went above and beyond to introduce you to the compelling characters defining this region. People making a difference, like the Rangers working to save Jordan's endangered oryx, or the Iranian stuntmen working on Hollywood blockbusters, and the Dubai-based art lovers moving Syrian paintings out of the war zone. Many of the artists that we met were breaking barriers, whether through comedy or film, and all of them wanted to leave their mark on a rapidly changing region. For these young Egyptians, that meant bringing people together in a country they saw as increasingly divided. We first met the band Kairoki in the streets of Egypt's capital. 5 best friends making music and trying to unite Egyptians, both young and old, through song.
I think in this song we were trying to show that there's 2 extreme poles in Egypt, and one is celebrating whatever, there's others dying.
But you're all Egyptian.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We should all accept each other, and just live peacefully if we can. But
at the end, we have to learn how to نتعايش.
how to live together.
How to live together.
These days, Kairoki still sees a widening generational gap in Egypt, but the band is more popular than ever. This fall, Kairoki was nominated for Best Musical Act in the Middle East at the MTV European Music Awards. They didn't win, but their newest video, released this summer, has hundreds of thousands of hits online. Kairoki is now set to release a 4th album, and the guys say they'll continue making music for years to come. Sometimes making a difference today means protecting the past. We first met Hadi Al-Hikmani in the hills of southern Oman. The young conservationist was searching for the last leopards of Arabia. There are only 200 Arabian leopards left in the wild, but Hadi was convinced he could find one and photograph it to learn more about leopard movements. It didn't happen while we were there, and Hadi was disappointed.
Sometimes it takes up to 3 to 4 months to get one photo. It's not that easy, actually.
But just days after we left, Hadi's camera captured these images. A female leopard prowling not far from where we had filmed. He says she was later spotted with a young cub, and Hadi now has a renewed sense of hope that one day he'll save this animal and his country's heritage. It's not just people leaving their mark on societies, sometimes it's buildings. Earlier this year, we got a rare behind-the-scenes tour of one of the largest shopping centres in the world, the Dubai Mall in the UAE.
75 million people came here last year, they say. More than visit the Eiffel Tower, Niagara Falls and Disney World in Florida combined.
Dubai Mall says they expect to break their own attendance record. And in a mega project already as big as 50 football pitches, they're now expanding. They even have attractions, including a dinosaur skeleton that's 155 million years old. You don't have to be the tallest or the biggest to make a difference. This year, we met a young Palestinian poet at a small open mic performance, and she is using her words to inspire an entire young generation of people around this region.
فلسطين يا مرآة الحياة. احفظوا صورا كتبتك شعرا كما فعل الكثيرون.
At just 19 years old, Palestinian Farah Shama is already drawing in the crowds.
طلب مني أن أقاطع منتجات أجنبية لكي أثبت هوية لا تاريخ إنتاج لها ولا تاريخ انتهاء.
Her act is a modernized take on the spoken word art form of poetry.
توكلت على الله وقلت.
Farah's poems are also making waves on the internet. Her poem, The Nationality, about Arabs living in exile, has hundreds of thousands of hits online. She says she was shocked to see her words resonating around the region.
I was so surprised to see him. I really didn't expect this to happen. I am telling you.
Born in Dubai, Farah has been performing on stages across the UAE since she was 15. Her poems are generally self-reflective, touching on religion, identity, and society.
I am no Palestinian.
Her poem, I Am No Palestinian, questions identity in the absence of a national passport.
I always want to say something that I think is thought-provoking. That's always what I want to do. I always want to give the audience something to think about.
Poetry is revered in the Middle East. Poets like Mahmoud Darwish and Gibran Khalil Gibran are cultural icons here and around the world. Centuries ago, nomads of the Gulf recited a style of poetry called Nabati around campfires. Today, a new TV show is reviving that tradition. This is Millions Poet, a reality television show that has turned this Gulf's passion for Nabati into a competition. Each week, poets battle it out, reciting live on stage. Judges pick the best of the bunch for a top prize worth over $1 million. But for Syrian contestant Talal Mohammed, his poetry is not about seeking fame or fortune.
I want to send a message to my people in Syria, because the war is make big problem to my people, and try to send a message for peace.
Expats too are getting involved. American poet Dorian Rogers holds regular Western-style poetry slam open mic nights in Abu Dhabi. Paul D, as he's known on stage, wanted to infuse the old culture of poetry with some fresh energy.
I looked around, I was like, okay, there are some isolated poetry events, but there aren't any ongoing, what we call open mics, which are really big in the West.
I come from there.
Farah is a long-time performer at Dorian's events. It's a far cry from Millions Poet, their style more raw, more free. Farah says she's trying to liberate poetry from its traditional constraints.
It needs something a bit more intimate. It needs direct contact. To me, it's very human. It's a very human art, I think. It's you're writing something to say something to someone, and I want to do that. I want to have the chance to do that in different places, in different languages.
Because at the end of the day, I am not the one to blame.
Farah dreams of performing around the world to keep using her words to inspire new audiences.
I am in no holiday.
From the arts to the culinary arts, we've come across some pretty odd food over the past year. Next up, we'll see how one Dubai dairy farm keeps thousands of milking cows cool in the middle of the desert.